Welcome to Critical Hit, a Major Spoilers podcast. Thank you for downloading and checking us out this week. We are back into some action. Oh, we got a stompy army. We got a stone army that's just going to roll over everybody.
We hope.
Like a stompy army, and in that they're like stomp. That we just play percussion
Yeah,
and we go.
I'm going to put trash cans on the bottom of mine.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Rodrigo, why don't you take us on an adventure, please?
All right. Well, first off, why don't we talk about what you guys have been doing recently?
On Critical Hit.
Yes, recently.
On Critical Hit. Yes. Good job,
like, you
Sam.
have to be more vague. It's like recently on the Major Spoilers Podcast Network.
Well, we brought a troll to meet with the dwarves, and there was a pact that was made.
We brokered peace between ancient enemies.
And while we were under, I forget, we attacked a tower.
Stronghold?
Oh, yeah, that's it, Rob.
A keep,
yeah. And we found all these stone, like terracotta warriors, but they're made out of stone, who respond to beats of the drum.
Yes.
Or music, I should say.
That's right. So, what are you guys trying to accomplish nowadays?
Well, we're trying to get to the pillars.
Get to the next pillar.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, we have to cross an island filled with ghosts and wights and revenants and things that Egon would probably have a name for and go pew, pew, pew.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys have gotten some rest at the beginning of this, so make sure that your sheets are reset. That you're back to the number of action points that you should reset to. 1 for most of you, 2 for 7 owls.
Yeah.
7 for Sakar because I'm bad with numbers.
That you've got your encounter and daily powers reset as well, plus any other modes or whatever that you want to switch to. I don't think any of the characters actually currently on have any modes that need to be like reset at the beginning of the day.
Nope.
No, our only modal character turns into him in combat.
Yep. So, you guys managed to get a good night's sleep, but really only barely, because pretty early on in the day, there's just a terrible combination of the scientific method and marching band going on, trying to figure out where the dwarves are trying to figure out exactly how these guys work. But by the time all of you are woken up or each of you is woken up by the noise, you've gotten enough sleep.
Oh, thank goodness.
I think I'm going to pop out and see how that's going.
I think I will observe as well.
Yeah, that sounds entertaining and awkward.
Yeah. By the time you guys come out, they've made some good advancements. They managed to put together a full-on, dwarven marching band, which is really just, some wind instrument, like some brassy wind instruments and some drums. But they've got a couple things figured out, how to get them to move and how to get them to, at the very least, lurch forward hard enough to smash a barricade wall.
Nice.
It does seem that they require pretty much constant music. If they stop playing, they stop moving. At least so far that's been the case. And they haven't figured out if there is a ditty to get them to attack continuously until stopped or whatever. So when you guys get down there, aside from the band and a literal field marshal out there trying to figure stuff out, there's also talk from the leadership, which is the dwarves that you guys have been talking to, about how they're going to have to basically change their formations to really protect the band, which is not necessarily a huge priority.
Have they checked to see how far away they have to be away from the statues? Do they have to be relatively close, or can they be in the very back of the.
I mean, no. It like the thing is like they have to be in earshot. Like they seem to have a reasonable hearing, like a normal dwarf would, which is generally pretty good. So as long as they can hear the band, they can be controlled by the band. And since this is a brass and drum band, they can probably control them for all intents and purposes remotely. The issue then, of course, becomes if you
protect
set
the
your
bards.
band, if you set all your bards on top of a hill and you send off the army, your band's actually pretty exposed. So keeping them with the army makes more sense. And there's also some talk of logistics because you guys have a few hundred like for real dwarves in the army that don't want to get in the way and have to basically work around and not get stomped themselves.
Yeah.
Now, in case of a fight.
Who's the head dwarf in charge? Is it Otto?
No.
Who is the head dwarf in charge?
Who is the head dwarf in charge?
General with the thing on his face.
General Genby? Is it General Genby?
Denby.
Spell that.
Denby.
Denby.
Yeah.
Okay.
I knew that. I was thinking Zaxby, but I just really want chicken.
I kept hearing Genbee, Genbee, because we met him at Bumblehearth. So I thought you were doing everybody had a B name going on.
Oh, no.
All right, so I'll go up to General Denby. General, looks like
morning.
You have been working with your army quite well.
Well, we're trying. We are not familiar with this. Pretty well kept secret, it seems.
Very, very well. You had mentioned last night that we wouldn't be approaching the pillar directly, but we had other targets that we had to either liberate or take down first.
Yes.
And what might those be? And can you give us any indication of what we might be looking at and how long this might take?
Oh, sure. When are you come to the war room with me?
Okay. I'll
bring your friends.
I'll kind of wave and get the others to follow.
Yeah. We follow.
So he rolls out this map in front of you. He says, all right, so we're here in Bleakstone. The capital is Kiln Throne here, but we can't really do a straight line because we will just get pincered. So we're probably going to have to go around in either direction. And right now we are thinking east, but we have to wait for some scouts to come back.
To Pharaoh Fort?
No. I suppose southeast. So we'd try to... a big part of this would be crossing and taking Barrow Bridge, which would actually help to protect Pharaoh Fort and Bleakstone, which is essentially our command center now. I know it does. So for those of you who aren't dwarves, when you look at this map, these are all vaults, and each of these vaults has cities. Generally is thought of as one city with a keep in it. They aren't all cities, but the majority of them are. We've labeled some of the relevant ones or larger ones or important ones, but all of these places have some sort of dwarven architecture to them, except for a couple of them or a handful of them. Another important thing is that even though they're all on this map laid out, they are, in fact, not all level. So some of them are much deeper than others, while others are on the all go all the way up to the surface. So, for example, here in Bleakstone Keep, we're all the way on the surface. Moldholm is fairly deep down. Bumblehearth itself is also fairly deep down. So I suppose if you can close your eyes and picture all of these strange shapes as three-dimensional objects, not only would they be fairly large prisms themselves, but they would be set at multiple levels. Many of them have tunnels that connect to each other. Those are not labeled here, but we know them. And part of the reason why Barrow Bridge is important is because it has a very large tunnel that allows for many troops to move quickly through. So we would need to take that to move our army, because we, through a lot of these smaller tunnels, we would be very open to ambush if we have to move these incredibly loud stone soldiers one by one through something that's essentially a resonance box that goes all the way to an occupied keep.
That does not sound easy.
Understandable.
So chances are most of these places are either occupied or impassable, and that's what our scouts have been trying to figure out. So likely we would want to head probably into Moldholm and then either try to cut straight to Barrow Bridge or something similar, maybe make a slight turn either south or north, and then try to head south as much as possible.
Seems reasonable. Anything we can do while we wait for the scouts to report in?
They should be back relatively soon, but I suppose you can always gird your loins. You all are what I like to call and he makes like big quotation marks with his like big dwarvy sausage fingers, a ragtag band, which means you all have various skills that will probably become relevant during a war, which is what we're about to get into here. I suppose what we're already in, since we've already taken our first stronghold. So we need to organize that, get you into this fledgling resistance army, and figure out what exact sort of responsibility you're going to have.
Fair enough.
Makes sense.
So, who do you see as your commander?
Well, it is my mission to get to the pillar.
I mean, we don't really have a specific commander. It depends on the circumstances. We have different leaders for different skill sets.
All right. Let me put it this way. When any two of you are too busy with your own thing to pay attention, who shouts the orders?
Guess
7
me?
L's wise.
Well, that was a conflicted answer. I don't know.
All right. Do any of you have any experience leading troops?
Well, we all participate. Albrecht and I
leading a ragtag group of infiltrators.
Yes, well, you're going to have the opposite of infiltrators in this war. That's part of the issue.
Yeah, I don't know then. Any of you guys have... I guess you were in the war, right, Sakar?
Albrecht and I were both in the Celestial Crusade.
All
right. Well, as disheartening as it is to not have a natural leader just bubble to the top, guess I'm going to go ahead and deputize Albrecht as your general, since he knows the language and the signs, and is probably going to inspire a little bit more confidence in our non-stone troops to see a dwarf at the head of things.
I can see
Makes
that.
sense.
Sounds fair. Yeah, any objections?
None here.
All right. Then he turns to Albrecht and says, "All right, Field General, figure out the rest of the chain of command and report back to me."
All right. Well, 7, are you filling up to the position of second in command?
Sure. If it gets us closer to the pillar,
Right.
then yes.
Sakar, you've had some military experience, I hear?
I have.
Well, you'll then be third. Seems Sparkle has some organizational experience herself. I'll let her be fourth, and sorry, kid, but I guess I'm putting you at the bottom of the pile.
Eh.
All right.
Seems okay with it.
Okay, then. We all understood? Any suggestions or corrections?
Nope.
All right. I will report back to Benji. Or Denby.
Denby.
Right? Denby. Okay.
So we'll do General Albrecht, Lieutenant, do First Lieutenant, 7 elsewise.
Just lieutenant.
First Lieutenant. And then Right Tenant Sakar.
Mhm.
Yes.
And then First Officer Sparkle. And
Ensign Dahlin.
yes, that sounds good.
He gets to wear a red shirt.
Ensign Dahlin. So you go and report to Denby.
Yep.
And they pretty quickly get you guys in there and talking about what the scouts have found out, and that indeed the next target is Mold Home,
All right.
which is directly south.
So do they grow mold there?
They do grow mold there. It's use it for baking and for feeding goats. Also, some of it is good for the bees.
Sensible.
Sounds delightful.
Are we gonna get attacked by, like, I don't know, angry sentient fungi?
Probably not. Chances are most of our opposition are going to be ghosts, those shades, and any potential living conscripts is also possible. There were, as you know, he motions to Albrecht. There are living creatures in Endgate, but you never know. A lot of these cities are very old, and they've been in shadow for a long time. So, there could be, depending on how deep you go, there could always be some horror lurking down there.
Great.
And
He
you're
He
aware.
shrugs. You've already got one on our team, so
True.
And I'm guessing that all of these cities are controlled by the ghosts. You don't have any enclaves or encampments of dwarfs like at.
if there are any enclaves or encampments out there, we do not know about them.
Okay.
But if we survived, it's very likely that others have as well.
Probably fairly entrenched and under siege.
Yes. It's not in our culture to give up, especially when territory is concerned. So I would assume that either you're going to find some dwarves that have successfully holed themselves somewhere, or a lot of corpses.
Another good reason to have General Ghostbeard in command.
Agreed.
If we encounter them, they're less likely to think that we're an enemy and kill, well, me.
So the pillar is for sure in Kilnthrone?
Yes.
Okay.
Is Kilnthrone Ulradon's stronghold?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is the place where you guys were kicking around before.
That is where we were. Okay.
With
wacky
gravity.
Yep.
With the
big forge.
gravity and the Glaven and the Foinleuven.
Any other questions while we're here?
Do we all have sufficient armor for this type of exercise?
If you'd like heavier armor, I'm sure we could provide it, but it's down to what you feel is good armor for you.
Mm.
I'm good with leather.
Naturally.
If you feel that you require more mobility, heavy dwarven armor is probably not going to help you. But we do have some smiths. If you'd like, we can modify a suit for tall folk.
I say this team pretty much tries to be light on its feet, and I just do best to keep up.
Well, our biggest asset is a pretty slow, at least as far as we know, army of rocks. So this time it looks like you're going to get to set the pace.
And at this point, we really hadn't found any means of getting them to attack. They're going to be largely just siege weaponry more than anything.
That's what we think.
Okay.
But we have discovered ways of making them surge forward with a pretty great force. So at the very least, they'll be able to take down walls, serve to provide cover for troops, and crush anything that doesn't get out of their way.
Yes. It'll open a path.
It is fortuitous that we found these. Obviously, this army excels at taking down living targets, so it's possible that at least for our first couple skirmishes, we will have a serious advantage, since, as far as I'm concerned, the chill touch of the dead will only be as strong as the force behind it and not have any other issues against our army. But we'll see.
Exciting. So I guess, do you want us as advanced scouts, or?
No, I need you to travel with the army. You are very likely going to be able to capitalize on the battlefield. Although I will leave deployment of the troll to you. So wherever you feel it would be best to utilize him, if you'd like for him to stay with the troops or move ahead, from what I understand, he is very mobile.
Yeah, very surprisingly for his size.
So there's that. But yes, the way that I envision this working is we actually very similar to how things worked in Bleakstone. We show up with an army. You all work something out to give us some sort of advantage. We attack, or we attack, and in the process, you are all able to do something to win us the day faster than an all-out skirmish would do. We are an attacking army with very few resources. Our soldiers appear to be tireless, but not all of them are, and also we will have to rely on depots and things that we find along the way. We are hopeful because ghosts don't eat anything, so a lot of the cured foods that we found, as well as stored water and alcohol, have all kept. So most of these cities, it seems like it would just be easier for them to leave the food where it is rather than get rid of it and store something else there, or purposefully throw it out. Although now that we're on the move, maybe they will do that. It's war. It's hard to predict exactly what's going to happen.
Well, we'll try to move quickly and not give them the opportunity to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, good. Any other questions?
Do we know in character whether or not Denby and his forces are aware of the whole bash in the helmet and maybe the ghost goes away thing? Or is that even a thing?
I don't think that's even a thing. We talked about it we thought that the helmet was just broken. It didn't. The helmets are just like armor worn by the ghosts. They're not. The ghosts aren't bound to the armor, as far as we could tell.
Okay.
Yeah, the armor was magically enchanted to be able to be used by the ghosts doing their ghostly things.
And not vice versa. Got it.
Yeah, the whole thing was like we were considering picking up the armor for Salath, but the armor was broken just because it had been bashed. But that didn't like kill a ghost necessarily. Just
no, we managed to put together one whole set.
Oh, all right. I forgot that we did that. Cool.
Yeah.
Oh.
We just haven't seen Salath for some reason.
Sure, because we left him on the boat so that he wouldn't get necromancied.
I mean, that was the reason, but
for some reason.
Uh-oh.
Some strange, unknowable reason that we know. All right. Any other questions?
I can't think of any, but I feel like there should be.
Yeah.
Well, if you think of anything else, I suppose we can figure it out along the way.
Will do.
That is our modus operandi.
Get yourselves ready, familiarize yourselves with the rallies, and we will set out at nightfall today.
Sounds good.
Hooray.
Go take some music lessons.
Yep. All right, you guys spend some time with the army, trying to familiarize yourself with their tactics and stuff. Any other preparations?
Stretching, lots of stretching.
Hydrating?
Yes, that too.
Should we set like, I don't know, rally points or anything like in terms of in case we have to make some kind of retreat or?
That would probably depend on any given skirmish.
Sure.
You guys can like set up an emergency point, like in case we all get separated, let's meet back at wherever. But most places are going to require you trekking through a bunch of killer ghosts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if we get separated, somebody please try to take down that pillar. Anything else?
Do we have 3 gourds with us?
Yep, we have.
You have
gourds
3
with
gourds
us.
with you. Yes.
Okay. Then I remember this whole show. I'm good.
Dallin, Albrecht, and Seven Owls Wise have their gourds with them.
if you get too close to Dallin, his will poke you.
I'm thinking of just getting a cucumber as a pet to fit in.
I mean, you could probably grow it right
you
now.
could probably power up a pretty scary cucumber. So
the pickle of our discontent.
So it would fit right in.
Seven might have an extra gourd for you.
No,
Once he
I
empties
don't.
it.
I believe in recycling and refilling.
Okay.
To war then?
To war!
War.
To
Okay.
war.
So if you look at the map, your first target is Moldhome. There's a red circle here, right?
Yep.
You guys can all see it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is going to be a modified skills challenge with the following rules. Initiative is going to be determined by rank. So it's going to go Albrecht, Seven Owls, Sakar, Sparkle, and Dallin. Each roll is going to be considered anywhere from 2 days to 2 weeks of either marching or sieging or whatever. There is no failing out, unlike regular skill challenges. It's just things are going to get progressively worse for you the more you fail.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Certain things that happen during that potentially can happen during this might help you. Generally through your victory. You have access to a dwarven army, which is going to provide you a +2 to all of your rolls during this
portion of the program.
Yes, during this portion of the program. Sorry, I'm while I'm talking, I'm also like setting things up.
Sure.
As long as you take care of it. If you that is a resource So you might not always have it, depending on what happens. And secondly, you have access to Dwali, which essentially you can use to, once during this war, you can send Dwali ahead to soften up a target for you.
Okay, so we can use the Army +2 every time as long as we have it.
That's an ongoing +2 as long as you have it.
And Dwali is a one-time use.
Dwali is a one-time use. You could, for example, send them down to Moldhome to cause havoc, which would presumably make it easier to take. You can only send Dwali to the next target, because if you send him 2 targets away, he's just going to be there by himself, and eventually they're going to be able to overwhelm him. So it only really makes sense to send him down to the next thing, which you would do as you're preparing to roll for it. You would say, well, let's send Dwali down.
So potentially someone could have a +4.
Potentially what?
Someone could have a +4 in a roll?
Dwali doesn't give you a bonus to your roll. He actually lowers the DC of the roll. So right. you could have a swing of more than 3, depending on what Dwali's doing.
All right. We'll call this Lord Kensington's Rules of War.
Yes. And the army is going to be our turn counter. So the army sets out from Bleakstone to Moldhome, or how are you, just outside of Moldhome?
All right.
Bleakstone is on the surface. Moldhome is a fair way down. When you arrive, you are able to see a vast vault and covered in moss farms that have not been kept. But unlike, say, crops on the surface that may not be native and need upkeep, this mold thrives in this area. So, in fact, you arrive at a yellowish city covered and packed to the brim with floating yellow spores. The keep is ahead, and it is to General Albrecht about how you guys are going to go about taking this. So think about what you want to do. Pick an ability that makes sense. Remember, you can rely on your own character's wits and physicality or whatever you've got going on, but also you have that opportunity that this is a war. You've got troops. You can think outside the box of like your regular, like, I need to get through this bridge that's full of arrows at me, kind of usual skill challenge. So what would you like to do here, Brian?
Not lead off.
Yeah, I mean, right now I kind of feel like I would kind of want to defer to Sakar to see what he can tell us about these spores, inhalation hazard, flaming hazard, maybe. Like, I'm not sure what would be the...
Ooh, can we set it all on fire and blow up the...
Yeah, that's kind of a thought, but trying to see what I can do as a...
Well, if you and 7 hold your actions, that would move Sakar to the top of the ranking, but...
You can't hold your actions in a skill challenge.
Yeah.
Oh, well then, I don't know.
Dungeoneering be a reasonable thing to try to determine various points of access and for additional intelligence gathering?
Dungeoneering would not only be good for finding places to gain access in this vault, because if it's underground, it's dungeoneering, but also the mold is an underground life form. So dungeoneering is basically underground nature. So if you want to figure out if the mold is flammable, then you can do that with dungeoneering.
Okay, yeah, we'll do that, and see what perhaps if the mold has any additional benefits or hazards that we need to be aware of. So one of my best ones, especially not with that kind of roll, 25. Ooh.
That is low. That is not going to make it.
Ooh.
Did you count in your +2?
I did not. So 27.
That's still very low.
So I kind of hate to do it this early, but use an action point.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and add that too. Oh, worse.
Wow.
How do you even?
Well.
Hey, Brian.
Yep. Rolled a 5 and a 4.
I'll lit a spirit on fire.
All right. Anybody got anything they can throw in here for Albrecht?
I don't have any rerolls for someone else.
Yeah, he's the leader, so presumably if somebody had them, it would be him.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's going to be a fail on this first one, unless you have some other way of re-rolling or...
Nope.
Okay. So Albrecht gets a little too concerned about the mold and spores, and essentially you guys run into a skirmish earlier than you expected, and essentially your troops end up having to engage, and your band's not ready, so a chunk of your troops just end up at the bottom of a ditch, and you can't get them back out. They can't climb back out.
Oh no.
So you lose a portion of your army. You are down to a +1 to rolls from your dwarves.
Dang it.
It is to 7 owls wise to salvage this situation.
Well, here's the thing. Some of them are probably injured from the tumble, and also I want to make sure hands are not blistered, because how long have we been marching from Bleakstone to Moldholm?
Not for very long, but there's always that sort of thing to worry about.
I want to make sure that the drummers don't have blisters on their hands, and I want to make sure no lips are chapped from blowing on woodwind instruments, and I want to make sure feet are holding up well, so I want to make sure that everyone's being healed, because I'm not sure that this army has a healer, or if they are, I need to go around and make sure they know proper healing and those kinds of things to make sure that this army can quickly get out of its situation and back into the battle.
Okay.
Nice.
So heal check?
Yep, 43.
All right. 43 is a success. It is in fact through the application of proper triage and caring for the wounded that the flesh dwarves are able to rally and take the city.
Hooray!
Hooray! You have taken your first city.
Woo!
Yes.
What? So for 7 owls wise, what do you find in this city that is going to be helpful for your war?
Oh, well, so one thing that is very helpful, I think, would be the mold itself, right? The spores. Don't they have because they're this very natural, funky, fungy thing. It doesn't react well with the dead, because the dead are always, encroaching into their spore zones.
Mm-hmm.
And so this actually will slow it. We find out that this mold spore stuff will actually slow down the ghosts.
Okay. Make a note of it. You can essentially you can cheese a roll later that involves this mold.
Okay.
And any of you can do that. It doesn't, because you're all here together. It doesn't have to be 7 owls. The scouts return, and it is determined that the next best target on the way to Barrow Bridge is Chrysoprasia, the Green City.
All right.
Okay, so a couple of questions. Once we have secured this, so we've rid this mold home of all the ghost inspectors.
Yep.
We've secured the city.
Mm-hmm.
Do we find anybody there?
No, you told me you found mold.
Okay. All right. But now, do we have to leave anybody behind to keep the city secure?
You do have to leave some troops behind, but not in a way that's going to affect your forward momentum.
Okay.
Eventually it might, so somebody might want to narrate that in if at the next success or so.
Okay. So we lost half of our stone army, correct?
You didn't lose half of it.
We lost a chunk of our stone.
A chunk of it. Basically, you had a +2 because it's such an overwhelming force. Now it's just a sort of whelming force.
Okay.
Still very strong.
Okay.
So the army moves forward, and you arrive at Chrysoprasia. which is in fact a huge vault that has these like iridescent green buildings with this very spirally architecture, absolutely infested with ghosts. How would you like to proceed there, Second Lieutenant Sakar?
Second Lieutenant Sakar has learned a few things from his days in military and quasi-military and paramilitary settings. And he almost never gets to do this, so I'm a little bit psyched. Okay. I'm going to Nick Fury it. Sakar is going to use his Intimidate to make sure that he is, in fact, a commanding presence, keeping everyone on task, making sure that everyone is staying in their formations, using their rallies correctly, using the stone goobly gooblers. And he's going to do it by being the guy going, come on, you gold brickin' dwarves, let's get in there and kick those ratsies in the butt, or something Sakar appropriate and Dungeons and Dragons appropriate thereof.
What are you, some sort of kobold?
Exactly. Going to intimidate to keep the army together in a way that at the end I don't get shot in the latrine.
Okay.
Okay, so that's important. We still have a +1, is that correct?
We still have a +1 from your overwhelming dwarf army.
All right. If we were to do something with the spores at this point because of the overwhelming numbers of ghosts in Chrysoprasia, would that give us an additional bonus?
No, that would basically, if you didn't see a good reason for a dungeoneering check or even a nature check, you could say like, well, we did find those spores back there, so I would like to add that in. So this is giving you additional narrative fodder.
Okay.
But yeah, no actual physical bonuses at this point.
Okay. So
we are going to.
All right. Sakar is going to intimidate the army to be even better, a more honed fighting force of dwarves, and roll a 42 to do it.
A 42 is a success.
All right.
Chrysoprasia is taken.
Yes.
The Dwarven army moves into the city. The band plays at a most furious tempo. And you guys are able to roll through thanks largely to the fact that Sakar is now possibly the scariest thing.
Well, I mean, he's a flaming blood tree wolf shadow thing.
Yeah.
Which is good. So, and again, I don't want to overstep my bounds, but I believe that when we lost those dwarves in Moldhome, it cut our forces to the point where we no longer had a bonus. What about this secret hidden stronghold of dwarves that we just discovered in Chrysoprasia, who have been so pinned down by the overwhelming numbers of ghosts and expecting to die, who suddenly come up at the last moments of the battle and heroically assist us? And they're like, yes, we will come and we will help you liberate the island. Would that maybe, I don't know, return our +2 bonus?
It won't, unfortunately.
Darn.
You as you go and you gain these allies, it is a the attrition is always kind of against you because you're marching against this entrenched army. But you now have a solid squadron of dwarves that are pretty nuts.
Yes,
they've been pinned down pretty hard. So you basically have like a suicide dwarf squad now. In addition to your Bumbleheart troops and your stone dwarves. So you can use that later to your advantage.
One suicide squad. Write that in everybody's inventory.
Yep. Okay. Scouting comes back, and it is time to take Barrow Bridge. Barrow Bridge is a very large vault. It doesn't look that way on the map because it's a very large vault vertically. It's just got this huge drop, and it has an enormous bridge going through it. This bridge is almost a city onto itself. and has like multiple movable ramparts and things that can help defend it. And sure enough, there's all manner of spooky ghosties, conscripts, whatever you need, trying to prevent your army from marching through, which is going to take us to First Officer Little Sparkle.
Cool. Well, if there's conscripts here, then maybe once they see our numbers bearing down on the city and this stone army and hear the marching of dwarven drums, they can be, inspired to either throw down their weapons or even turn on their ghostly captors to try to help us liberate it from within.
What are you hoping to use here?
Diplomacy?
So with diplomacy, you'd probably have to find a way of talking to them.
Okay.
Which is a possibility. You just have to narrate me a good way of either sowing dissent. There's also the potential of bluff, of just making you guys seem
actually bluff
bigger and
perfect,
scarier than you
then
actually
maybe we can position our army in ways so that we can discourage them. So especially with the music and the band and the stone things to make it look like they're facing an overwhelming force through.
Yeah. So you're hoping to dishearten basically the sentient part of this army is what you're going for. Okay. Yeah. That sounds good to me.
All right. Cool.
Don't forget your +1.
Sounds good. That's going to be a 35.
35 is not going to do it.
All right. Then I will reroll with always a natural.
Okay.
Into a 48.
That's more
48 is a success. At first, it doesn't look like they're going to go for it. But as the army approaches, a lot of lances are dropped and some ghosts flee, and definitely some human and dwarf conscripts turn tail and run, leaving a lot of confusion because officers now have to turn around and deal with deserters, as well as, oh no, this dwarf is going to stomp me in the head. And sure enough, the stone army manages to roll through the bridge and take it. You've taken Barrow Bridge.
So there are actual humans on the island?
Yep. Some of these places have actual humans. You see some human conscripts, some tiefling conscripts, and some dwarf conscripts.
Well, then, do I get to name a reward?
You can, yes.
Then I would say, since we're rescuing these conscripts, that they can give us some information that we can possibly use on enemy formations from having been marched around with the ghostly regiments.
Sounds good. Write it down somewhere. That's another hole for you to grab onto if things get rough.
Sounds good.
All right. With Barrow Bridge taken, a lot of your other keeps are much safer. So you guys are able to fortify forward a little bit and have a bit of an influx of flesh dwarves arrive. This emboldens the leadership, and they determine that the best thing to do is to press the advantage and attack the White Gate locks. So the White Gate locks are a series of locks that allows them to basically bring ships into the island itself. Rather than having to offload on the coast, this gives them access to a lot of relatively nearby places, but it cuts down on their loading time, and this is their main supply port. So taking the White Gate locks will be a big advantage. It will fall to Dallin. to formulate the strategy here.
All right. So, bonuses that we still have. We've got +1 from the dwarf army.
Correct.
We could send Dwali in to
soften them up,
soften things up. The mold, we have the mold.
Yep,
and
but
can be used for
slow down the
something.
ghosts. Yeah, slow down the ghosts.
Yeah. So it's not a the mold, the conscripts, the information. It's the Suicide Squad. They're not mechanical advantages. They are, for example, if you wanted to use diplomacy, you could use it by leading that Suicide Squad and keeping everybody together. If you wanted to use nature, you could use the mold, so on and so forth.
Narrative justification for more flexibility.
They're narrative hooks, baby.
Yep.
Okay, and Barrow Bridge was
And Barrow Bridge was a big old bridge, and you got tactical information. Basically, you guys have some fleshy captives that you can press for info about other locations.
Okay.
So the locks are themselves a big giant vault that has. I mean, I don't know if you guys are familiar with ship locks. We've talked about them on the show before. They're not like those goblin locks that actually let in the astral sea. This is some other material that allows astral ships to move across it, but it's mostly the mechanics of the lock that do all the work. They essentially just kind of pick up a ship on a conveyor belt type thing and move it forward. But they're huge. You know, you can move an astral tanker in through them. Of course, they're manned. And there's because this is not just clearly an important military target, but also just a busy place. There are lots of troops here.
To start with, going to give an additional shadow cover as we come in to make it harder for us to be spotted until we get close enough to which use it as a straight up regular attack to take out the first line as we push the stone army into the locks.
Sounds good.
All right.
Oh,
I'm going to use an action point.
Okay.
Okay.
36.
A 36 is not going to do it.
Reroll for the day?
Sure.
Number 1. 45.
There you go.
All right.
45 is a success. So yes, this place is lit by these oil lanterns, and you see these lanterns being snuffed one by one by a shadowy force as the army creeps forward, playing very softly. And at first it doesn't seem to really do anything. The ghosts, you manage to move forward enough. The ghosts do spot you, but they don't expect this darkness to then basically descend upon them as a sharp and dangerous shadow knives or spikes or rocks or whatever you want. Swords, probably. I guess swords is a theme.
Yeah.
It is thanks to Dallin's arcane prowess that you take the Whitegate locks. The Whitegate locks are, and I'm sorry, Rob, if you had something in the chamber here, you might get to do it later. But they are their own advantage. You have essentially stopped their biggest
supply line.
Nice.
And gained your own supply line moving forward. The taking of the locks reduces the difficulty by 1 for the rest of the skill challenge.
Nice.
Have we identified the actual threshold of success?
Higher than 36 previously.
Lower than 42.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Congratulations.
Hooray for us.
Ting!
I mean, hooray
right.
for our dwarven brethren.
Scouts go out. The leadership convenes. The top of the round is found. They realize that the next best target is the city of Oromelt, the Golden City. a very wealthy dwarven city full of goldsmiths and wealthy people, or at least it was back in the day. The army marches forward, and it will be up to Albrecht to devise a stratagem and or find a way to take the city.
So I'm kind of wondering, with the intel that we've been managed to gather from the conscripts, could that perhaps provide me with the means to disrupt some lines of commands, to throw them into disarray with an insight to try to determine where their leadership is and to target them and take them out?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, I will try that. With the bonus, 30.
30's not going to do it.
They're just getting worse, folks. And I don't have any rerolled for that.
You rolled a 3.
Yes. 5, a 4, and a 3. Okay.
Sounds like a very Brian day.
Well, stop rolling, for God's sake. You can't get much lower.
I wish I could.
Yeah. There is some information there. Unfortunately, the troops are starting to lose heart in the leadership. You don't have any rerolls or anything in the chat there,
no,
Brian?
Not for that.
All right. So unfortunately, that will be a.
Can I activate insightful comment perhaps for the next round using?
What does that do? Or was it?
Until the end of next turn, each target gains you and each ally bonus to bluff, diplomacy, and intimidate equal to my wisdom mod.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so I'll at least do that.
Okay.
So the intel's useful for something. So plus 6 people for those checks.
Cool.
Unfortunately, this particular battle didn't go so well.
You just get a lot of conflicting information that is hard to sort out, and the army ends up moving into a very disadvantageous position when trying to take the city. So once again, it'll be to 7 Owls Wise to get us out of this.
Well, I think
in Broglio, I will point out that you have lost the advantage from your dwarven army.
That's what I was afraid of.
Yes.
So here's the thing. More +1.
Here's the thing.
Yep.
There are, these dwarves are great warriors and great fighters, but I bet they have some martial people with them as well, some martial arts people.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to take a couple of them, and we're going to sneak into the city. And we're going to take out the main gate so that there's no resistance, so we can just march right into the city. And if we encounter any resistance, I'm going to use some of those spores to slow those ghosts down, so that we have the advantage. So I'm going to use stealth. We're going to sneak in using stealth.
Okay.
36, which is not enough. I will use one of my action points.
Okay.
And get a 33. So nope, I failed that too.
All right.
The Golden City is... We don't have enough gold, ladies and gentlemen. Patreon.com/Major Spoilers.
Turning into a real mess. Well, I will put it to you, Stephen. You can either... have 7 Owls Wise kind of take the brunt of this, or you can essentially lose Dwali in the skirmish.
No. I'll take the brunt of it.
Okay, so here's what happens. 7 Owls Wise gets pretty seriously injured. Like in taking things in, he kind of gets pinned, and then just takes a solid sledgehammer to the ribs. Until you get like a week's rest and like serious medical attention, you are essentially bloodied.
Okay.
Like you only refill to bloodied. Set yourself to bloodied now. If you enter combat and somebody like heals you, you can go above bloodied, but next time you go to sleep, it'll just or next time you take a rest, it'll just dip right back down.
Oh my God.
So my max HP right now is only my bloodied value.
Correct.
Okay.
Holy
but I need a really long extended rest to break that.
Yeah, which you're not going to get during this campaign.
I'm
sorry, this war campaign.
Right.
Not like the
for the remainder of the Void
Saga.
The remainder of the Void Saga, you were at half hit points forever.
So, that you get a report from the field, Sakar, that Seven Owls Wise has been seriously injured, and the enemy's advancing on your position.
It's time to call in the troll.
It's too late to call in the troll in this situation. You need to send them ahead. They already know that the troll is here.
All right. Well, then, it's time for a suicide
I'll also
squad.
point out, before we go too far, you can't use Dwali on the last one.
Oh, boo.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, I hope this isn't the last one.
No.
All right.
Kilnthrone. Kilnthrone.
Yeah, Kilnthrone.
Seven Owls Wise. Seven Owls Wise is hurt and pinned down. Our forces are being advanced upon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's time to take in the suicide squad.
Yeah.
Sakar is going to take leadership of the suicide squad of dwarves. 13 battle-hardened guys. There's Stumpy and Eyeball and Lefty and Paco and Ted. And
Normal
we're all
Bertha.
going... and Bill as well.
Yeah.
All right. And because we are just going in, and it is now time to fight street to street. It is pure choppy, leap, kick, turn into a tree, hit things with your athletics as hard as you can, and bring home Seven Owls Wise and victory with the help of these suicide dwarves who probably aren't going to make it.
Sounds good to me.
But they know this is the thing that's very important.
That's right.
They knew going in. And one of them is played by Ernest Borgnine.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Jenny the Battle Axe.
Yeah, Jenny the Battle Axe is wonderful.
She fights with a sword, but she's married to Bill, so she's always Bill's not the greatest guy.
It's one of those had to settle.
Yeah.
And the twins, Aaron and Aaron.
Yep.
All right.
Go for it, man. Remember, I think you are rolling double on this. 38.
38.
38 is a success.
Oh, we got there.
Yep, that's got to be
an apt success for the Suicide Squad.
The Suicide Squad. And Sakar literally carries Seven Owls Wise with one arm around his shoulder, walks him out of the city in battle prowess to hide the fact that he's badly injured, and also as a show of respect for the Avenger who nearly got himself killed.
Yeah. Yes, you managed to recover Seven Owls Wise. Unfortunately, there is really not much left of Oramel's buildings or riches by the end of this skirmish to really suss anything out, other than like bare essentials in food and other things. This particular point in the campaign was just too costly. You guys.
Now, can we send the troll ahead?
Now, yes. If Little Sparkle wants, she can send the troll ahead.
Okay.
But let me tell you where you're going first.
Yeah.
You guys spend a fair amount of time resting this time, which isn't super helpful. In fact, probably the next spot was going to be God Power Mountain, which would have given you a serious high ground and the ability to literally see troop movements on Kilnthrone. But instead, you guys are going to have to go down. Down to Bitter Vault. The lowest, darkest vault in the island. Nobody knows what all is in Bitter Vault, except possibly for all the scary wraiths that are there right now. But they don't care, so they might not be investigating. This is the army begins to move forward, and it'll be to Little Sparkle to figure out a way to take this place. Would you like to send the troll?
I would not, because I'm going to try to use that +6 bonus that I got from Dallin. We've
from
Albrecht.
Right? Albrecht, that's what I meant. Sorry. We've had some setbacks. The Golden City was not doing great. Now we have to change focus to go into this unfortunate cold place. But, we can do this. We are taking back their homes, and they're not going to see this coming. Dwarves aren't afraid of anything. And I, have been fighting with these guys for a long period of time, and we got Albrecht will help lead them. So I'd like to make a diplomacy check to rally the troops, basically.
Sounds good.
Beautiful. We shall fight them in the trenches.
Saves me from having to do it because my diplomacy's not really that good.
That's going to be a 39.
39's a success.
Did she paint half of her beak blue and do the William Wallace thing? Because that would be wonderful.
Yeah, there we go.
Little Sparkle learns some Dwarven, and in sort of a JFK style, coins a slogan that is like not quite grammatically correct, but they like it, and it becomes part of the battle hymn. All right, you guys descend to the deepest reaches. What do you find in Bittervault once you take it?
That's a really good question. We find some form of like spooky dwarven magic, stuff that has been stashed here and forgotten to history, but now can be used to fortify our armies.
Okay.
That's been buried deep. And
yeah,
exactly.
You find the
Balrog. Run, you fools!
Not that deep.
Yeah. You find the ancient magics of the winter dwarves.
Ooh, sweet.
Nice.
And are able to inure your living armies against the cold, which the ghosts use a lot of. And also, give your the remaining stone dwarves that you have like a bunch of like ice spikes, which they don't necessarily need, but it makes them look scary. And you never know when one of them is going to get lucky and just like slash a guy.
Yeah.
The only way forward is to take the city of Sweet Oven, which is the baking capital of the city, or at least it was back before it was overtaken by ghosts who don't care about bread.
Well, is it time for Dwally to earn his bread?
Well, it's to Dallin, so he gets to decide if he wants to send Dwally ahead. I mean, you've got that. This is the last place where he would be useful. So,
all right then.
Yes,
Dwally it is.
By default. We're going to have Dwally help earn this keep.
Okay.
What bonuses or what skills are you giving bonuses to right now, Brian?
Intimidate. Let me just go back down to it. Diplomacy, which she just used. Bluff.
And bluff.
Bluff. Okay.
I think there was one. Well, let me just bluff, diplomacy. Nope, that was it. Bluff, diplomacy, and intimidate.
Bluff it is.
All right. Give me a second. As the army arrives in Sweet Oven, which the majority of it is above ground, so it makes sense to take it above ground, or coming up from a Bittervault, you see that a good portion of the city is already in flames, and there's a lot of commotion.
So you're saying this city is toast?
You suck.
That's awful.
Statler and Waldorf called.
Well, that's because we sent the troll ahead, right?
That's because you sent the troll ahead.
That's beautiful.
Okay. Anybody got any ideas on how to use bluff in this situation? Or I guess intimidate would work too.
I mean, you could tell them to all lay down their arms and disperse because the rest of the army is coming.
Because the rest of the troll army is coming.
Yeah, the rest of the troll army is coming.
There's more of that troll where there came from.
Yes.
There's 20
he
more
was just the
trolls over
forward
the
scout.
hill. Just give up now.
He's the runt of the troll army.
Yeah, that works quite well, actually.
I'll allow it. So what? Describe to me exactly what Dalin does.
Dalin approaches the city with some of the dwarves and starts asking for surrender.
This might make it fall under Arcana, but I was going to say, can you make phantom trolls?
I'd allow that with bluff. They're like very rudimentary shadows in the distance that look like trolls. I'd allow it.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. So I'll have the dwarves behind me, the rudimentary dwarves off in the distance. Rudimentary dwarves. The trolls, the shadow trolls off in the distance, and tell them, lay down the weapons. The rest of the army's coming. We've got you beat.
Nice.
I am Talon the Exile, and you are defeated.
Way to go.
Wow, second botch of the night there, Rob.
Oof.
Yep.
Is that right?
Go ahead and use reroll number 2.
Okay.
Hey, at 38.
Wait. Okay. Yep. 38's a success. Sweet Oven is claimed as their troops are sent packing. There's still a fair amount of fighting that has to be done. There's a lot of those goopy shades here, and they don't react to being intimidated. So, but all of their support flees into the countryside. You know, nearby vaults and other cities, or just out into the wilderness. What do you guys find in Sweet Oven?
Well, there was a good store of meat buns, but Wally got there first.
I was going to go with food. Stuff to actually get the army back up and get our supplies back up, because the march has been dwindling them. The ability to prep more fresh supplies instead of we'll be able to use the ovens.
You're just utilizing the cities like mills and stuff.
Rations, so morale increase.
Okay, that sounds good.
Donuts instead of hardtack.
Yeah.
All right. Well, from as the army rehabilitates some of the mills and gets the ovens going, you guys can very plainly see from here the dome of Kiln Throne and the pillar extending from the center of the city. And that's going to take us to the top of the round.
Oh, boy.
Round 3 of war.
Round 3 of war. Huh.
What is it good for?
So it is time. The time has come to take the capital, or at least breach the capital. And it's going to be to General Albrecht to figure out how.
So I'm thinking they might have their defenses pretty well shored up here, so we're
absolutely
left with very little option other than to just force our way through. So athletics to drive in and make our way in.
Lead from the front?
Yes.
All right. Sounds good to me. You got any sauce on this, or
I can roll 2 dice and take the better option.
Works.
I've got my fingers crossed.
Let's see. 26. Whoa, that's
there you go.
Nice.
That's it.
So, the possibly against what seems like the better judgment of the leadership, Albrecht pushes for a frontal assault into the city. It is There's just thousands and thousands of ghosts here. They are armed to the teeth. They are expecting this, and yet somehow, possibly by just literally holding the gate open with his arms, Albrecht manages to push through, and the city is breached. Your army floods into the city, and the armies within the city spill forward to combat them and prevent them from taking any ground. But take ground they do. It turns into a mess. But you guys are inside. We'll wrap there.
Oh,
oh, that was fun.
Yeah. All right.
That was really neat.
That was really cool. Now you guys can figure out. Rodrigo laid out all the groundwork for Lord Kensington's rules of war. You guys use that in your future campaigns as a different way to do a skills challenge. I really enjoyed this, Rodrigo, and here's the reason why I think I really enjoyed this. Because when you put out the track, and we see that we've only got 3 failures, I gotta say that puts a lot of pressure on me as a player, right? Because it's just like, oh my god. This one, there are disadvantages. Yes, Seven Owls Wise now has a maximum hit points of his bloodied value until he gets a week's rest, which he probably won't.
Ever.
But at the same time, I didn't feel as much pressure doing this skills challenge as I feel the other skills challenges.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely... this skills challenge is supposed to feel broad and ponderous, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's supposed to feel like a war. So definitely me saying 3 rolls in, well, you lost the war, doesn't...
Right.
Doesn't do much, because then you would end up back where you were at the beginning, and then where do we go from there, right? Start another war, I guess.
Try again, yep.
So, yeah, in a war, at least in a fictional war, you lose resources, you lose people, you lose comrades, you lose ground, and that's what I wanted to simulate. So yeah, you kind of eat through your own advantages and then eat through your, start taking on disadvantages. And honestly, you guys did pretty well.
Yep.
You guys have lots of ways of mitigating failure in a skill challenge anyway. So yeah, good job on that.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was this week's episode of Critical Hit. Thank you so much again for downloading and checking it out. Hope you had as much fun as we did. Hopefully you were on the edge of your seat like we were. And here's hoping that all of your dice rolls are critical hits.
This podcast is copyright 2019 by Major Spoilers Entertainment, LLC.